What's up, everybody? It's Johnny from A Lion's Tale. And I want to talk today about overcoming procrastination. So procrastination was one of my biggest challenges personally. I actually got a ton of stuff done. I was a really high performer and got way more stuff done than most of the people around me, but I procrastinated on the hardest stuff and the stuff that was actually most valuable all the time. It was one of my biggest challenges, and I uncovered some tips for actually how to get over that, and I wanted to share those with you today because it actually helped me so much, and it actually helped me reduce a lot of stress around working on the stuff that I really wanted to work on. I was just actually scared of the result and what might happen, which was really cool. So I got 4 key tips that'll help you with that have helped me with that as well. And by the way, we're actually doing a free webinar on this topic. So we're going to go into overcoming procrastination, time management, and a bunch of associated skills. And we got that free webinar. There's a link down in the video description below. So click that if you'd like to join us. Gets a little bit deeper, more suites of stuff, totally free. Come join me and we'll chat about it. It'd be really cool. So, interesting thing about procrastination. Procrastination comes from anxiety, right? We're anxious about a topic, and so we procrastinate. We put it off because we don't want to feel that anxiety. And anxiety, the definition of anxiety is feeling future pain now. So we're worried about something we got to do in the future, and we're worried about something we got to do in the future. It's actually causing us pain now, which is a crazy thing when you think about it in that context. We're avoiding something, and we're feeling the pain of that thing that we're avoiding, and we're feeling more and more of it because we're not actually tackling it. And I don't know about you, but there's been so many times when I've thought about doing something and I put it off, and I put it off for hours, for days, for weeks. And the funny thing is, when I actually tackled it, it took so much less time to actually do that thing than to worry about it the whole time. Maybe like half or a quarter of the time. Have you guys ever experienced this? Like I used to do it all the time, and now I catch myself and I ended up just doing it. So the really cool thing is, if we can bring that future pain, that future unknown into the present moment, we can eliminate all of that worry about future stress, future anxiety, all that good stuff. And we just bring it to the present moment so we can see it for what it actually is, which is so much easier, so much less stress, and a lot less painful, even though it might seem the opposite. So these are the 4 tips that really help me. So the first one is just start. So for me, I have really high standards for myself, and I did a ton of prep work for anything I was going to do. It had to be perfect, right? And have you ever heard the phrase, perfect is the enemy of good? It's a real thing. Perfect will keep you from getting started all the time. I know for me, I was like, well, I got to learn more skills. I got to have a more polished presentation. I've got to work out all the details. I've got to know all the different variables, right? And then when I started, as soon as I started, I figured out I had done all this planning, and I actually had to pivot, and most of that planning went out the window. But when I got rid of that and I just started when I just was like, okay, I'm going to do a thing. You know what? I'm going to show up today. Like, I wanted to get in CrossFit. So I just went to a CrossFit class. I didn't do research on all the best gyms. I didn't think about which exercise were for me. I didn't do a ton of things. I just heard somebody mention CrossFit. I was like, that's something I've been wanting to do for a while. As soon as they said it, I was like, hey, I'll go with you to the class. And you know what? I made a bunch of mistakes, and it was great. And then I got better. And I got better, and I got better. And now I'm in love with it, and it's the best shape I've ever been in my life. But if I just thought about it all the time, it would have took me months and months and months to actually go, and I would have lost out on all that benefit. And so just starting is such a cool little trick. So you're going to make mistakes no matter what. Like, no matter how much you prep, like we just talked about, you're going to make mistakes anyways. So just start and know that it's going to be part of the process. The other thing is, when you just start, you're going to build momentum. So as you start, you're going to figure something out that you didn't know. You're going to figure out that like right now, I'm actually living in Spain right now, and we're looking at buying property. And there's like 5 steps that I didn't know about. And if I had just prepped on my own, I still would never have known about this because it's like a local secret. And so when I got here, we just started. I just jumped in way before I was ready. I went and saw a property before I had anything lined up, financing, anything, right? And I learned so much in the first 15 minutes of this conversation that it would have took me months to figure out on my own. And so just starting is such a powerful tool. So if you have something you are struggling with right now, let's say you want to start a YouTube channel, just start creating the videos. You'll figure out that, oh man, I don't have the right mic. I don't have a ring light. There's no stand. I don't know where to stand anywhere. I don't know how to do a YouTube video. I don't know what services to use or platforms or whatever. You'll learn so much just taking the first step. So That's my first advice. Super important. Just get started and you'll figure out things faster and you'll build momentum, which is really cool. All right, second thing, worst first. This is such a cool technique. There's a book that I love. It's called A Factory of One. Really made me so much more efficient, so much better at time management, which gives you more time in the day, which is such a cool concept, right? So imagine you got 40 hours in a week. If you can get, let's say 50% more efficient or even 25% more efficient, you can actually compress your schedule and you get free time, which is, for me, I just geek out on this stuff. I love it. So that book is called A Factory of One. I love it. Check it out. And this technique is called worst first. So what I do is I schedule that thing that I really don't want to do and I put it first in my schedule and I make it small. So I put it first in my schedule, and when I first started this concept, I put it first in my schedule and I said, all right, I'm going to work on this for 2 hours before I touch anything else. And then I really did not want to do it. I did not want to spend 2 hours on this, so I skipped it a couple times. And what made it easier for me is I put it first in my day, but I committed to only doing 30 minutes, right? I'm going to get into it first, but I'm only going to do 30 minutes, okay? And that makes it so much easier. You're working on it, you're just getting started, but it's the first thing in your day. So you can't do your emails, you can't post your video, you can't do whatever you normally do at the first thing at the beginning of the day until you've worked on this for 30 minutes. And that lowers the barrier to entry, but it makes sure that you touch it. And once you get started, just like we were saying, you're going to build momentum, you're going to figure out things you didn't know, and you're going to start getting it started. And then the big thing is it'll start become less and less daunting. It becomes real. And then you realize it's not that big of a deal, right? It's never that big of a deal. And put it first, put it short, 30 minutes every day before I do my other stuff. I'm going to do the worst thing first, and you'll start building momentum and it'll get easier and easier. So that's a really cool concept. We call it worst first. While we're on this topic, I actually have a free surprise for you. So we put together a guided journal from a lion's tail that will actually help you release your day, think about the thoughts throughout the day, celebrate your wins, release kind of negative emotions, and focus on what you're grateful for. If you're not familiar with journaling, I've got other videos that go deep into this and all the different benefits, but it's a really cool way to keep you focused and celebrate all the accomplishments that you've made today, the previous day, the past couple days, whatever. And it's such an incredible tool. So I've got that free journal for you down below in the description. Just click the link, you can download your own copy. It's super cool. Third tip, set a date. So here's the big thing. There's a concept called Parkinson's Law, which states that a task will expand to take up as much time as you give it. It's kind of like a Japanese koi fish in a pond. I don't know if you know this, but koi fish, they get bigger or smaller depending on the container that you put them in. So if you put Japanese koi fish in a pond, they get massive, right? The things you've probably seen in like a botanical garden or something like that. But if you put them in a smaller container, they will stay small. The same thing happens with projects and with tasks. If we give it infinite amount of time, if we don't have a start time and an end time, specifically an end time, it will take as long as it takes. It will keep extending and expanding. So what you want to do is put a date on it. Okay, I'm going to get started by this date, which hopefully is like now, today, and I'm going to be finished by this date. And what you got to do is put a date on it and put it in front of you often, because as you see that, so like for me, I've got a financial goal, a business goal by July 1st, 2025. And I look at that every day, July 1st, 2025. Right now, it's a year out almost. And so that's not as daunting, but as I'm looking at it and the calendar is starting to move, I'm more and more aware that it's coming up. And you remember from school, right? If you're a procrastinator like I used to be, the due date for your topic in school is coming up and you don't want to be the night before like cramming it all in. So put a date on it and see it often. See the date, know that it's coming up, and commit to getting it done by that date. So put a date on it and it will remind you and motivate you to get it done on time. Next one, bonus tip, just say yes. So this is kind of like just get started, but a little bit different. So when you do just get started and you're like, okay, there's something big here I'm thinking about doing and I don't want to do it, I'm worried about it, but I'm just going to start, and you get into it and you figure out it's not that big of a deal. It's like a dragon in your mind, but when you start it, it's like a little tiny mole or a fox or something like that, right? When you realize that these things are just bigger in our heads and they're actually easier than when we get into them, what you'll start to find out is it'd be easier just to start these things quicker and quicker. So my challenge to you is the next time you hear somebody talk about an opportunity that you're excited about, like my CrossFit example, something that you've been wanting to do, like let's say surfing or mountain biking or a new job, a new skill, whatever, your own business venture. When you hear somebody mention it or the opportunity comes up in any way, don't even think about it. Just say yes and start. Just get on it. There's that movie, Yes Man, with Jim Carrey. It was a really cool premise. You know, he went to some workshop, some personal development workshop. His mind got programmed to just say yes to everything, and he got all these life experiences that he would never have before. It's actually really how it works. You don't have to go to a hypnotist and get hypnotized for that to happen. The next time you hear a suggestion is something you're mildly interested in or something that you're like 50-50, do me a favor, commit to yourself, just say yes and jump on it, and it will remove so many barriers. All that anticipation of future pain is going to be gone. It's removed, like completely. You just said yes and you tried it out. Maybe it's not for you, but you're going to know that right away. Now you don't have to spend weeks thinking about it or months thinking about it. You know right away, hey, that's not my jam. Or you know right away, this is something I'm interested in. I'm going to prioritize it. Or this was super fun. Let's go do it again tomorrow. Overcoming procrastination is all about not thinking about future stuff and just making it today and enjoying all the benefits today and removing all that future pain, all that anxiety, that future worry, all that good stuff. You don't need it, right? So those are my tips, 4 tips for overcoming procrastination. Hope you enjoyed it. If this really spoke to you, if this is really kind of what you're looking for and we just kind of have a vibe together, there's a link down below in the description to book a call with me and chat about our mentorship program, which is kind of the meat and potatoes of what we do here at Lion's Tail. That's really our focus. And there's no pressure or anything. Just jump on there. It's like a free discovery call, and we can just chat and see if it's a good fit for you, see if it's a good fit for me, and we can just chat about what we can offer you and what it's done for me in my life. And if you've seen my case study, you know exactly what that is. So there's a link down below if you want to book a call with me. We can chat, see if it's a good fit for you, and yeah, just get on the phone. Hope this was helpful. And remember, my biggest mantra now is you can think of today as one day I'm going to do that, or today as day one, and I'm going to start today. And I love that. Cheers.